Good morning, video games. Welcome to another edition of Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by three very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Dasilo. With me, as always...
Hello, filthy animals. It's Ben Vanel here, recording from Site A, our usual recording studio. But you boys, you're somewhere else.
We're off campus.
We're on Isla Sauna, the beautiful Site B, where my only stipulation, let me hunt the T-Rex. My reasons are my own.
Let me fuck the T-Rex.
I want to get a very small hand job.
Me and Adam are in Thailand, and listeners will be delighted to know that Adam was once again late to a podcast recording, in spite of the fact that we're staying in the same hotel and he's about 4 doors down from me.
About 6 doors apart. I've had a lot of sun. I've had a big fucking travel day. I had to fly over, and yeah, I've had a couple of drugs. I would never have drugs.
But yes, we are here. We are discussing the huge week of E3 conferences that we've just seen. They finished last night, was the final one. It was Nintendo's one.
Well, and then E3 proper has just started.
Yeah, so this is when you start to see the trickle in of game, show floor kind of stuff.
Yes.
Demos and all that kind of shit. But how do we want to do this? Do we want to give some overall thoughts, or do we want to just start going through them?
I would like to just go through in order of chronology.
Okay.
Sure.
Ben?
Chronological order.
Yep.
Well, this is a
overall
democracy.
thoughts at
Ben,
the
what do
end.
you think?
I think we get rid of Adam and it's just us two from now on.
Well, we're over in Thailand, which is actually not a democracy. This is a monarchy. And as the king, I would like to say, Ben, you're ousted.
No!
What's that thing that kings send people into? Exile.
Yes. Okay. Xbox.
EA.
Yeah, let's go chronologically, and then at the very end, we'll do some overall thoughts.
Yeah, because I think all of us, I know that I have watched all of these but the Nintendo ones pretty much.
That's cool that you know that.
Well, I've done my due diligence. Dude, I don't know if I'm an asset to this particular episode. I am so scattered. I am feeling Thailand is 3 hours behind Australia, and I feel jet lagged.
Okay, it's okay. There's a lot to talk about. We'll help you through this.
I'm trying to say every game at once, and you know what? It doesn't sound good if you do that. That's every syllable.
Before we get too far away from it, Due Diligence is my drag name.
Nice.
Diligence.
We were already too far away from it, but thank you for trying.
It's quite all right. I think it's the time distance.
I would like to stay too far away from any performance that Due Diligence is doing.
Can we say quickly too? Sony were doing a few things before E3 launch where they had 4 days of just these kind of surprise announcements. One of which is a fucking drugged out VR Tetris game, which looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Tetris is fucking awesome.
Yeah, Tetris is sick. Tetris in VR with some fucking club anthems playing behind it. Sign me up.
Dude, all I've wanted is Tetris with my friend in the background going dude, touch my shirt. It feels great.
But it's literally, the trailer for it is just all these crazy lights and shit going off. And then they do the thing where it's that's right, it's Tetris. It's how the fuck is this Tetris?
This ain't your granddaddy's Tetris.
Oh, hell yeah.
Guess what? 5 blocks of shape.
So who was up first? It was EA. EA, yeah.
On the Saturday America time, I believe, EA did their press conference out of the gate. And you'd think EA coming out, blasting first, you'd want to think that they had a big set of games to back up that sort of swaggering arrogance to walk into the press conferences first out of the blocks going, hey, we're here and we are Electronic Arts.
Exactly. You'd be right to think that.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to say Electronic Farts is a little bit more like it.
Is that your drag name?
Yes, Electronic Farts is my drag name. And it turns into dubstep. It's the fart noises that turn into dubstep.
So, yes, a bit of an underwhelming one. Seems
Oh.
to be the vibe from people on the EA one.
Massively underwhelming.
Yeah. So what do they got?
Well, so they had their standard like FIFA, NBA, Madden, all of that stuff that you'd expect them to have, which is fine. You can't begrudge them that. That's their money spinners.
That's right, and they're good
But-
games.
They are. I've never been massively into them, but they're not for me, and that's absolutely fine. They do a good job for the people who want what they do from them.
Yeah.
So then they had the space to, well, what they did was like partly go, hey, EA, we're big into indies. We're doing this big indie platform. I can't remember what they call it, but they have some like umbrella name for their indie thing.
Is that Origin Access or something?
No, they did announce that Origin Access Premiere is something they did where it's basically like the Xbox Live Game Pass.
Yeah.
Where you pay a subscription fee and you get every EA game day one, every new one as well, which is pretty cool.
That's cool that people are happy with it with Microsoft and now other company, because it seems like it'll just become standardized pretty quickly where pretty soon every company's just like, well, we have to do this now or we look fucked.
Completely.
So you can expect Nintendo to do it in about 15 years.
Well, exactly. Like, as time goes by, it's going to be the default distribution model for every form of media that exists on a computer, you'd have to imagine.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely,
Yes.
because Disney are already starting their own video streaming platform in competition with, the actual other ones that are not just one distribution company. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
Yeah.
starting in video, it's definitely, it's going to spread across everything like a plague.
Well, and it's going to be something, I saw a comparison to it that I kind of is horrifying, but I think accurate, that Foxtel is this big umbrella thing where it costs a lot of money to get all these different channels.
Foxtel is cable television in
Foxtel
Australia.
is,
Yes.
Australian cable television. And so if you imagine that each of those channels that is on Foxtel would have started like some sort of variant of Netflix, what's going to happen is it will probably start with these sort of hubs like Netflix and the Disney Channel.
Yep.
Or, well, no, the Disney one would be the one that is shaking it up. Like Netflix or Stan in Australia is the opposite, but like
Amazon Prime.
Hulu
Yeah.
in the US, things like that, where it's like a bunch of different production companies, things all in the one place. But then it'll balloon out and they'll all have their own individual ones. And then at some point, some company will come along and go, hey, you get Disney, Fox, Warner Brothers, all of them for this much a month. And it's going to be cable again, but streaming.
Because, cable kind of already essentially is that. I mean, in the States, you pay extra to have HBO.
Yeah.
Like, HBO is its own subscription thing. So,
yes.
And that,
Showtime as well, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
They've got their own version of that, which like is cool that they're doing that. But the games that are on it, from what we've seen this year at least, aren't necessarily that promising. So they showed, their indie stuff. They had 2 games, Unravel 2, which they were like, and it's out right now. And everyone's like, okay.
I think literally one guy in the auditorium went, woohoo!
Hey. I love yarn.
Is this, by the way, just speaking of that, is this the most it's out right now or it's out tomorrow that there's ever been at E3? Seems like that's happening more and more and more.
Honestly, there was kind of less of it than I expected. Because there are a few things where if you were going to talk about them at all, you'd better fucking hope they're out right now. Like Crackdown 3 was a big one of them for me.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, cool, the 5th press conference in a year where they've gone, one day.
Yeah.
Here's Terry
promise.
Crews again.
Yeah.
God.
That trailer, I like Terry Crews,
Yeah, same.
but in the Crackdown 3 trailer, and we're jumping ahead, he is just constantly screaming and yelling and talking. And it's sort of annoying, but I also do hope that in the game, your character is just constantly talking.
Yeah.
It's just a non-stop. You can't turn it off.
Yeah.
It's just Terry Crews screaming about like, I'm a cop the whole time.
Like you're sprinting through the game and his voice isn't changing at all. He doesn't sound tired. He's not, affected by...
It is a stream of consciousness of Terry Crews yelling like, we're jumping really high! So Unravel 2 and Sea of Solitude was the other one, which I did think looked cool. And they had the woman who was like the lead designer come out and explain what it was about, and she did a really good job of that, and I thought it looked good. But it didn't carry the press conference because other than that, it was Battlefield 5, which we've already seen a bunch of, and doesn't look any particular sort of interesting because it's sort of a known quantity.
Yep.
It was Command and Conquer Rivals, which is a mobile version of Command and Conquer in the style of Clash of Clans and shit.
Yep.
It was one of the head designers of Respawn, who are the people who made Titanfall, saying they're working on a Star Wars game, but with no footage or even a fucking logo. You know how sometimes they'll just show a logo and be like, one day, Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, exactly. And people went bananas over that.
Yeah.
It's like if there's enough interest, that's all you need to do is just confirm its existence.
But this was
flashy little do up something.
literally like that Pokemon one as well, where they just showed the guy at his desk and he was like, "Hey, look, I'm stuck here. Someone please send help."
He's like drawing fucking Jigglypuff or whatever, and then just turning to the camera going, "Have a guess what I'm working on right now."
Yeah, and it was just this dude in the audience of this press conference. And he was like, "Hey, we're making a Star Wars game and you play as a Jedi." And everyone was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, of course they fucking are. And Anthem, they spent a lot of time on, and that game looks bland and boring as hell to me, honestly.
Yeah, it really does to me as well. And a lot of our listeners as well we've all been kind of discussing each of the press conferences as they've come out, and more people than I thought agree with us that it just kind of looks shitty and boring. I thought it was a game designed to appeal to a broad base of players like Destiny.
Well, that's the thing. I think it is riffing on that Destiny idea, which I think people have pretty quickly moved away from.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're right now at the kind of cusp of like everything being battle royale to kind of be doing something that's like online, but it just immediately feels so dated.
And it has nothing about, because it's being made by BioWare, and it has nothing about what made those games appealing to me that they made in the past. None of that is obvious in it. Like, the gameplay of those games was the least interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Almost all
agreed.
the time. It was the writing and stuff, which just there's no reason to think will be in there as of yet.
Yeah, I chatted to a friend of the show, previous guest Ben Russell, just the other night. And he's a big Destiny fan, or at least he's addicted to it. I don't know if he's...
Yeah, exactly. He's the biggest Destiny user that I've seen.
but even, he has just thinks Anthem looks pretty terrible, pretty bland. He's interested in another game coming up, obviously. We'll talk about that in a bit. But, for someone who's addicted to massively multiplayer online shooters, he's not overly interested from what I can tell.
Massive Mass Effect fan, too.
Yeah.
So he should be the target market for it. And if they're not hitting that, then I don't know what they're trying to do.
Speaking of previous guests of the show, we just had lunch with Dave Callan, and I think he was angling to get in on this. And we said no.
Too complicated. Too complicated already.
Doing this international conference when I am not in the mood. I've already gotten sunburn. I've been here for less than a day, and my face is red. And I genuinely, I had one of those accidental falling asleep things before then, where like you wake up from it, it's like, oh, my body was shutting down. That's what happened.
Oh, Ben, by the way, guess what he's wearing?
Oh, is he wearing a certain shortened pair of pants?
He sure is, baby.
That's right. It's my T-shirt that says, "Me love cum."
You brought it with you.
I bring it everywhere. It is stuck to me.
Okay, so who was up next?
So after EA, the next day, there were a couple more things. Hitman 2 is something we didn't mention, was before the conference. We're looking on a website, by the way, called 2018.e3recap.com, which is like kind of a useful thing where it's got, if you click on each of these little icons, it's got trailers. It's kind of got every game that has been spoken about at E3. So it's a useful resource that we're taking advantage of.
Oh, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. There's a trailer for that, which is like a sort of sequel to Wonder Boy. I was a big fan of the remaster of that came out about a year and a half ago. And this kind of like, actual from the ground up new game, sort of using a lot of those same characters and stuff, looks really cool. Looks like a fun little colourful platformer. Yeah.
A Total War game, Dead or Alive 6, a fighting game. So next up, I guess, was Microsoft.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that
I think
right?
you're right. Yeah.
Yep.
They were early. Okay, so Microsoft is up next. So overall, it went like EA, Microsoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft, Square Enix,
Sony,
Nintendo.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so Microsoft, I think, was the biggest question mark for us and a lot of people.
or at least the biggest, like, they need to have an exclamation mark at the end of this.
Yeah. So I thought this presentation was really good. A lot of really, really good stuff in there, games-wise. However, almost all of them are still coming out on other consoles anyway.
Yeah.
So literally all of them, I believe, are coming out. Maybe not literally all of them, but they're either all on the PC or the PS4.
Yes.
Yep.
There's like 4 that are like Xbox. So I kept watching through stuff, some of these trailers, and being like, God damn, I think this could be me going in. This could be me going in on an Xbox. And then it'd get to the end and be like, anyway, come into Xbox and PS4. I was like, okay, well, fucking great.
Well, and so sort of all of the ones that are Xbox/Windows exclusive are sequels.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
To older games. So you kind of know. So Halo Infinite is the first thing they showed, which it didn't explain that it was just a direct sequel to Halo 5, but it is.
Right.
Yep.
It's just the next one of them. It sort of looked like it might be. I mean, the name Halo Infinite, it showed, with all the Battle Royale stuff, it was unclear what it was. I kind of immediately thought that.
Well, and there's such a precedent for games where if they don't have a number at the end, it's like, oh, so this is like some weird offshoot or kind of like different sort of style version to it. So I think people are naturally pretty wary of stuff like that.
Exactly. But no, they have since said this is Halo 6, effectively.
Great.
So
Cool.
that's coming out. Big
You're into that.
surprise.
You'd be into that, right?
Oh, I'll play it, but honestly, the last two have
shitty.
made me way less into it.
Okay, right.
Because it's this different. It used to be Bungie, who now make Destiny, and now it's this like studio they put together to make Halo games specifically.
Right.
And they are not as able to do it.
Right, okay.
You think if you put together a crack team, but yeah. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, which I believe none of us played.
No, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, and it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
The trailer looks like it is exactly going to be probably Tommy Dassolo's favorite game of the year. It looks
If it comes to Switch.
so yeah.
It's an Xbox boy. It's one of the handful of exclusives. Yeah.
Xbox/Windows one. So then next up here is probably the thing that I was the most excited about throughout this entire E3.
Yeah, nice.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
God damn, this looks like some good ass shit.
Yeah.
It looks great.
I'm not into the name. So
Yeah.
my brother told me what the meaning of Sekiro was. And it's not a real word in Japanese, but it's taking two different phrases, which I can't remember what they are.
Body, I think it's body and pillow.
Yeah. It's something along the lines of like it basically means lone wolf.
Right. Oh, so
Like-
not too far off then.
Yeah.
Oh no, like half a lone wolf, because you know how he has the sort of the animatronic arm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So basically it means like wolf cut in half or something like
Okay,
that.
right.
Lone wolf cut in half.
But you're right. I kind of always think I hate this like kind of like having sort of two cracks at a title.
Yeah.
Like having a colon in there. I'm not. Just Shadows Die Twice would be a cool name.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other bit at the start of it just is I don't know. It's kind of a clunky title, but it looks great. So it's basically what is it? Bloodborne.
Yeah, From
with
Software.
Ninja Bloodborne.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
From Software doing a new thing. The grappling hook looks great.
Yeah.
It's got the
Yes.
same like kind of grotesque art style that I really like from them.
Big fucked up looking monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the giant, oversized dudes. It looks the movement looks a bit more fluid than at least Bloodborne, which is the one of their games that I've played. It looks a little bit more like fun to move around potentially.
Yeah.
Totally. It looks like exactly what I wanted for them, is for them to kind of try something new while staying within what they're good at. It
Yeah.
looks like one of those sort of semi-move-aways from what they've done. We'll come back to Fallout 76, I reckon, because
Yeah.
there was more of that at the Bethesda one, but they did
Yep.
show that at the Xbox one. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which is like a prequel to a new series, a prequel to Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, that's what that is. Sure.
Which, coming off the back of Shadows Die Twice, where people were like, you could feel in the room everyone being like, fuck yeah, and then it's like, anyway, here's this weird Polar Express looking kid wearing a fucking superhero mask, and then that ended and you could feel the vibe in the room being like, okay.
To go from like building up this bloodlust to like, oh, I hope this kid's dad likes him. But I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, it looks sweet, yeah.
Did you,
It looks...
either of you guys play Life is Strange?
No.
I didn't like it. It felt a bit like a simplified, childish version of a Telltale game, but a lot of people loved it.
Yeah.
It's definitely along those lines of being the sort of modern adventure game.
Yeah.
It seems like, but you know, its audience, I think, will like it.
Yeah,
totally.
It seems it's popular. People will be stoked that there's another one coming.
Crackdown 3, again, they fucking showed again.
Is this just like a long-term prank?
Dude,
What is this?
if it's a prank, it's that equivalent of your friend who fucking hits you in the balls and goes like, what a joke.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like being hit in the balls, but I did hit you in the balls. What a prank.
Yeah, dude, god damn it. And like not even really showing off that much of it either. Like
I feel like this is the first actual genuine gameplay we've seen of it, though.
yeah,
I think last year there was like maybe a total of 30 seconds, and it kind of looks the same as that did, which is not good, kind of dated,
And-
kind of
yeah.
shitty and not
Dated
that
in the
fun.
way of a sequel to a 2006 game that was meant to come out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I don't know who possibly fucking cares about this game anymore, but yeah. But and again, just like don't show it, just unless you have a date ready to go now.
Well, and they did have a date. And
did
said
they?
it was something like February next year.
Oh, okay.
Which
I
is
didn't- I
too
missed
far
that.
away still, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that hadn't have been and it's out today, don't fucking show it. Just go like, hey, and by the way, sorry about Crackdown.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
Metro
right.
Exodus.
Oh, sorry, February 2019 is exactly when it's coming out, so
Right.
who cares?
As an Xbox boy, I have...
Whoops
dude,
cares.
that's so fucking insane. Like almost... Well, 5.5 years after... dumbasses.
Yeah.
Well, not dumbasses. It's not stupid. It's just obviously something's gone massively wrong with that.
Yeah.
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 Metro Exodus was the next thing. They showed another trailer of that, and I still think that game, it like graphically looks amazing.
Yes, agreed.
Not played either of the other Metro games.
I've played a bit of I think all of them, and they were kind of a bit Stalker, Chernobyl, sort of Half-Life-y a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, this looks incredible. It's multi-platform, so it's coming out on PlayStation 4 as well, February 19th next year.
Right.
Great.
Next, this trailer was at, I think, about 15 different E3 press conferences
Yes.
Yeah.
for Kingdom Hearts 3. Fuck Kingdom Hearts.
Why? So this is what I don't get is like if Square already have their own, and I guess the same thing with Fallout 76, like this, the developers making this are already doing their own, show where they're showing it off.
Yep.
Why are they giving a clip of it to Microsoft to also show? It just seems
Put it
dumb.
in front of everybody, I guess.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
and if you
advertising.
got that Disney money...
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, it's
I think it looks to be bad in the same way that the first one is bad.
Right.
Which is the only one I've played, but I fucking hated it. And like the trailer was weird in that it was missing sound effects and shit.
Oh, really?
Did you notice that with...
I did not notice
I've watched a highlights thing of it, so maybe it's just some like kind of clips from it, like not the full unedited thing. So maybe it didn't come up in the bits, but like Jack Sparrow being in it, I thought the pirate ship stuff looked pretty cool.
Elsa from Frozen
Yep.
is in it.
Yep.
Monsters Inc. Toy Story. I think it will appeal to the people who it is
already
who
like
have
it?
already just
Yeah.
exactly who it already appeals to. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, coming at it from that angle, I think it looks great. It looks like they're doing a good job of servicing, people want it to be bigger and more crazy. So it's like, now there's pirate ships and shit. And, yeah.
just those games are innately. I apologize for this, but goofy. They're so stupid and
Apology not accepted.
well, you know what? I haven't made as bad of a blunder as Kingdom Hearts has for existing. I just have a huge amount of animosity for this series now. But there are a lot of people who are into it, so whatever, good for them.
Yep.
Sea of Thieves. There's some sort of new content coming to that. Who gives a fuck?
Yep.
Meh.
Yep.
So Forza Horizon 4, I thought looked cool. Those games are good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this one's in the UK. Same exact thing again. They kept saying the seasons change everything during this press conference. And what it changes is that, like, oh, it's cold in winter.
Yeah, slippery. Slippery on the ice.
Ice on the lake. Uh-oh, watch out for those leaves. It's autumn. I know.
But yeah, people be into that. I mean, yeah, that's one of the few things that I think people like of Xbox exclusive franchise that people like care. Like you were saying, Halo. Kind of who cares because they've botched up the last couple.
Yeah.
But with this, people love the Forza games. I think,
especially the Horizon ones, which
Yeah.
are like the sort of more fun versions of them.
Yeah. So
And-
they're like the Gran Turismo Sport.
Kind of, or they're like sort of the successor to like Project Gotham and almost Burnout.
Okay.
It's kind of the closest thing that you get to that style of like arcadey racing these days, and I think they're great.
Yeah, cool.
We Happy Few, another trailer for that, and apparently that game has changed into being that sort of story-driven type BioShock thing since it was first released in the early access thing of being like it was originally that kind of survival-y stealth game.
Yeah.
And they've added more of the BioShock-y kind of story thing to it that it originally looked like it was going to have, so that could be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of really strange to me that from the start they were like, here's this really interesting looking world, this sort of alternate history setting, and we're not going to write a good story for it. Like, it just seemed bizarre to me. Like, the aesthetic looked so strong.
And it seems as though from having released it and gotten some money from it, they have gone back and done that.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's cool. Some more footage of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on the Xbox. Who cares? It's the worst version of that game. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, Japanese RPG. Cool.
yep.
Sure.
Not much more to say because it's not something any of us. It's not super in our wheelhouse. Yeah.
So this one was shown more at the Ubisoft conference, but it showed up here first. The Division 2. Did you guys see like the trailers for it?
No.
I watched a bit of, I think I saw some of that fake role-playing gameplay stuff.
Right. It's weird. Like, it's obviously the sequel to The Division, which was like torn apart New York. Here we are running through the streets after this plague. This one's in DC, and it's like, America's gone to shit. We're in the streets of DC with guns, taking back our country. And it's not playing it in any way as though it's aware of the state of the world currently.
Okay. Right. Interesting.
Right.
So it's a little bit weird, but it looks exactly the same as the first one.
Yes.
So if you're into that one, then maybe you'll be into this one.
I think if you were into that one now, after it's been fixed after successive patches, you'll be into this one. Because apparently it looks like it's basically the one they should have made the first time. So
Yeah.
It just looks sort of bland to me still from that, like you said, the fake co-op gameplay thing. It just looks like crouching behind shit and shooting enemies with numbers that you are appropriately equipped to shoot.
Yeah.
yeah, sure, yeah.
So Microsoft Studios acquired some studios.
Yeah.
Some indies.
They went out and bought a bunch of things. I don't remember any of them, and I couldn't tell you the names of games that any of them have made.
Again, I mean, it's like this sounds kind of cool on paper, but without seeing the, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's see what they do because it kind of means nothing without any actual.
A
games.
lot of them were like, one of them was the ones who've been making the Forza games.
Right.
It's like you've been making them exclusively for Microsoft for ages anyway.
Right.
It was stuff like that where none of them were like, whoa, what a coup, like Rare was back in the day.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
yeah. I literally had heard of none of them. And if you're correct on that point, Knox, then it seems like they just wanted to add another number to the tally so they can appear to be investing in games, which is what everyone's slammed them about for years.
Yeah.
Completely. The two that I can remember off the top of my head were the ones who made Forza and the studio that made the State of Decay games, which again have only been released on the Xbox and Windows stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of weird. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, first time that showed up was here as well. I continue to think that this game looks like bland bullshit like the other two.
And I continue to think it looks like a great alternative to the Uncharted franchise, which I will very much enjoy playing.
But you know what? You compare the trailers to this and The Last of Us 2, right? Which these are basically two games doing the same thing, right?
Similar? I'll give you that.
I mean, like you compare it to Uncharted, Last of Us is Uncharted team, and like just the trailers of these two things are like tough action woman rolling around trying to murder people. Mm-hmm. And you compare the two of them and Shadow of the Tomb Raider is like her being just very video gamey about it. Very like, okay, and I've knocked on this wall, so this person's coming over here and I'll tie the rope here and they'll get strung up here. And it looks sort of mechanical. Whereas the Last of Us 2 trailer, which we'll talk about later, was very fluid and story-driven, which I think this game thinks it is, and I've never gotten that from it.
Oh, sure.
The other two.
I think that's a fair distinction. I also think Tomb Raider is an action movie, and The Last of Us is just, an Oscar winner. So there is obviously a distinction in style, and yeah, I'll give you quality, but like I like running around as Lara Croft exploring tombs.
That's fair, and you know what? The tombs out of those games have been the best part.
Absolutely,
and if they showed a trailer of this where it's like, hey, guess what? 50 tombs. I would have been so into it. It's the bits in between where you're like hunting these people. You're hunting not even these people, this AI that you are predicting the routes of. It just became tedious to me at some point. But
that's
it
fair.
looks, it's completely another one of those, and good for them.
Yep.
Next up was Session. Now, this is a skateboarding game. People are clamoring for a bit of Skate 4, and it seems like it's just they keep, I don't know, basically trolling.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Because right before E3, they turned on the servers for Skate 3 again.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
And then people are like, well, this is it. It's got to mean Skate 4. But it
Yep.
seems like someone just did it as a joke.
Yeah.
Because, Session.
So anyway, some other developer has basically come along and gone, all right, well, fuck it, we'll make it then.
Yeah, fuck you. Skate 5. How about
Yeah.
that?
Creature Studios are making Sessions.
It sure as hell looked like a skateboarding game.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope it's good because I'd like to play a good one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's been a long fucking while. Some MMO called Black Desert that's existed for ages and they had another trailer for, but I don't think
Right.
any of us care about that personally.
Yeah.
May Cry 5 showed up next.
Oof. So,
yeah,
what
I
a
don't know
trailer.
anything Yeah, I missed this one. I don't know anything about this series really, but I know a lot of people pretty jacked on it.
Well, so I know that you, Ben, are not into the style of this.
No, I thought it was fucking awful. Like the bits of Final Fantasy 15 where, like, largely with the underdressed mechanic, the like just all the more cringy parts of that sort of JRPG style were just soaking in this trailer.
Sure.
Like this, it was just it was embarrassing. I think I described it as embarrassing to watch. Yeah.
Sure, and I can say I think it is sort of meant to be almost a pastiche of that in the same way that Bayonetta is.
Right.
Or a similar
Okay.
way to that. But I don't really have an enormous amount of experience with this series either. But people who like it seem to love it, or seem to be very excited as well that it's going back to the original sort of series because they tried to reboot it a few years ago.
Yeah, that's right. DMC.
Yeah. So it's back to the originals, and it's basically Bayonetta, I think, this series.
Yeah, well, it's
Right.
the same guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So yeah.
So, you know, Bayonetta's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bayonetta's fun. I do like the gameplay style, the Bayonetta, original God of War. What do they call it? Action RPG or something?
There's some one of those weird ones where it's like someone invented this and hoped it would catch on. Like,
Yeah,
character action.
Right.
that's it. Yeah, but yeah, it looks like it might be fun to play. And if it is self-aware, then I might not hate it.
You know how most action games don't have characters?
Yeah.
This one does.
Next up was some Cuphead DLC called The Delicious Last Course.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Still
Oh, yeah.
haven't gotten around to playing this, but that's smart. I don't think were people kind of predicting that. That seems like it kind of came out of left field a bit, but
Kind of, yeah. But Cuphead's fucking fantastic, and I will play more of that.
great.
Yep, agreed. Completely agreed.
Some Zelda game with a fox called Tunic. Don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I didn't love it, I gotta say.
No, it looked... I wasn't interested at all either. Dying Light 2 was next, though, and this game could be kind of cool.
Yeah, I
Did
played
you
the
play
first one.
You did, right.
Yeah,
Cool.
I played it a lot. I really, really liked it. I thought it was just incredibly well made to the point where it actually was kind of too scary for me to play it much of. Like, it's genuinely good and tense and difficult as well. So yeah, this is good.
If you mix that with their pitch for this one, which is we got this guy Chris Avallone along, who he's the guy who did like Planescape Torment and all these like old RPGs that people go like, oh, the best stories of video games.
Yes, yeah.
And it's got like this branching sort of like the example they used was something like there's these bandits, they want to take over the water supply. If you don't let them, then the government has it, which means everyone has water, but at the same time the government gets a tighter grip on everybody. But if you let them steal the water, then they have control of it and there's more bandits in the place and water becomes expensive and whatever.
Right.
So like sort of these branching stories mixed with this cool action game could be really cool.
And it really nailed the first person platforming that something like Mirror's Edge tried to. But it's basically like a parkour game with zombies, and now it sounds like a branching RPG storyline, which that's fucking great. That's, yeah, awesome.
And you know what's crazy? If you say parkour game with zombies, I think of the worst motherfucker who would be into that. But
Yeah.
Dying Light was cool.
Yeah, yep.
Just Cause 4 was next. Again, shown at the Square Enix thing, but it was shown here first. This looks like a big improvement on 3.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I liked 3. It looks a bit more like 2, which was awesome.
Definitely the high point of that series. And 3, like, I think a lot of people, I only played a bit of it, but a lot of people really kind of saw it as a step back from 2 in some ways.
Yep, I think that's fair. Or at least a step sideways, which it shouldn't have been for a next generation game.
Dude.
Yeah.
Never step sideways unless you're doing a do-si-do. But, like, the tornado thing, how much they're focusing on that,
Yeah.
I think it's super fucking cool. And eventually, if you get the ability to control the weather, that would be sick.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
That would be sick as hell.
Yeah, nice.
So then, sorry.
I said, nice, bitch.
Oh, fucking got me. So what do we got here next? A bunch of Gears of War stuff?
Yeah, so there was rumors before this that there would be 3 Gears of War games announced, and they turned out to be true. I don't think anybody predicted that the first of those games would be Gears Pop, which is those fucking Funko Pops that fucking suck.
They're so bad. I hate them.
They're the worst design.
Yeah.
I hate the way they look with their big dead black eyes.
Isn't
They're
it
so
weird, though,
tacky
how
and
it's
cheap.
this
Yeah.
company that's like popular enough to be able to get other companies to go, sure, take our beloved characters that we worked really hard to design and just absolutely fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, just have your wicked... Do whatever you want. Make Roger Rabbit look like a fucking piece of shit.
Completely. This company, their whole model is a 3D printed bad DeviantArt account. And somehow they've become massive, and there's an official Gears of War game that's some sort of, you know, I think it's a mobile game.
Right.
Gears
I think
Pop.
you're right. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what the specifics of it are because I'm going to burn every phone that I see with it installed.
Wow.
I do really enjoy this kind of like weird cultural crossover stuff when it happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in Gears and I'm not interested in Funko figures, but this kind of weird bullshit existing is kind of up my alley.
It's the same as Kingdom Hearts from before. Like I say, I hate it, but at the same time, I'm so fascinated. It's
Exactly,
biting an
yes.
ulcer for me to look at it every time.
Yes.
Because it's so weird. But then the other two did actually look genuinely cool. Gears Tactics is similar to XCOM, it looks, but with Gears of War stuff. It's like a prequel to the first game. I think, or at least that first remake of XCOM that came out a fair few years ago now, I really liked. And that with Gears of War is a good fit
Yep.
to my mind.
Yep.
That's fair.
And then,
there's Gears of War 5.
Yeah. And so they called it just Gears 5 at the thing. So I don't know if they're just shortening it to Gears 5. But yeah, following on from 4, same exact thing again. But I'm up for more of that.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, I've never played any of them, and I've probably never watched more than 3 seconds of any of them in a GIF format. But I watched this trailer, and I thought it looked actually really cool. It might be something that gets me to buy an Xbox.
Oh, hello.
Well, so you don't need to if you've got a good PC. Again, that's the thing with all of these. And you're better off having a PC, honestly, because then you've got access to all these other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I just, other than for the sake of it being the cheapest available console option at the moment, there's just not a good case to buy an Xbox.
No, unless
now.
you watch the trailer for Gears 5 and want to play it on a console, which I kind of do.
Yeah.
Sure, like, and they are cheap. Like, you can get an Xbox One S for 250 Australian bucks at the moment.
Right.
Man, I
Which
spent
is
more than
not-
that on lunch today.
Dude, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Where the fuck did you go for lunch?
I went to Pizza Hut.
Oh, nice.
I spent 10
Yeah.
baht on lunch today.
Oh, yeah?
More than 10 baht.
Yeah.
Baht is the Thai currency. You've just got to give them drawings of the character Bart Simpson.
Oh, sick
Hello, everybody.
racist shit, dude.
It's not racist.
And it's spelled
riffs.
differently too.
Yeah, man. That's why it's a riff. Give me any currency. I'll do a riff on it.
God, we got to get off this riff.
Yeah.
Next
I'll
up,
pound the queen.
Cyberpunk 2077.
All right.
Fair to say this is probably one of the games that made people jizz their panties the most of E3.
A lot of
Fair?
people. I certainly did. I think because of me having feeling as though they have some sort of pedigree because of The Witcher 3,
Yeah.
I am super into this game.
I thought this looked really cool.
Now, Ben, I don't feel like we need to elaborate on our thoughts because I feel as though we represent the majority. But old fucking... What's the guy's name who tried to blow up England? Guy Fawkes. Ben, representing the minority over there. What do you reckon?
I actually like it more now than I did the first time I saw the trailer. I've watched the trailer a couple of times now, literally like just now as we're talking, and I actually think it looks pretty cool. I've softened a bit on my feelings on the aesthetic, which I still think is a bit derivative, but I'm kind of coming around on it. Also, they released more information about it today. It's going to be a first-person shooter-based RPG.
And I think the thing that maybe is assuages a lot of your fears is that there will more than likely be a massive character creation element to it.
Yes.
You won't be playing as the sort of generic voiceover guy who was in the trailer. And I can see how like it comes across as a little bit Kung Fury.
A little
to
bit.
some extent. But I think it's having fun with it in not a nostalgia focused way, in a I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't push those same annoyance buttons for me that something like Kung Fury, kind of like 80s, remember, does.
Well, Ready Player One is a pretty one-to-one comparison for the aesthetics. But you're right. Like, if it's not a nostalgia thing and it's more authentic, which some people have now made me aware. Cyberpunk 2077 was, I think, a board game or a role-playing game that was inspired by by William Gibson kind of stuff, or Blade Runner maybe, I don't know. But if they go back to the roots and it's a more authentic experience, then it might well be my favorite game of all time. Like, that's the thing.
Honestly, it could be the best game ever made because I think Witcher 3 is in the running for that. And now they have so much higher of a budget after Witcher 3.
Totally.
They've got so much more experience and just their writing, especially of like sort of world building-y side quests, which it looks like this will rely on.
Yep.
Is probably the best going around at the moment. And them taking on something like this, which doing this sort of setting is a lot more interesting than kind of generic fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
agreed.
I agree. It's you and I were talking yesterday, Ben, and I found it interesting that you early on were thinking that it was a bit derivative because the thing that I noticed about it very immediately was the whole like the palette where we're so used to this kind of like futuristic kind of Blade Runner take where everything's kind of set at night and it's very drab, apart from neon signs. But this is like there's bits that are set in daylight and it's sunny. Like it's not like gloomy clouds, and it's like it does still look like there's like fucked up stuff in here, but it's still vibrant and there's still like like you were saying, a bit of a sense of fun to it. Like that really stuck out to me, that it is. Just even doing that to me made it feel like, this is a really fresh take on something that's I feel has kind of been done to death in media a bit in the last kind of few years in particular. But yeah.
The retro future thing is very difficult to strike the right chord on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Fallout does it well because it's kind of a separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like in terms of Kung Fury is the example that I always go to in my head of what I don't like with that sort of stuff. Of just basically taking stuff that didn't actually exist at the time. Like those sort of grid blue neon background things. Like,
sure.
It just seems, I don't know, I think it looks really cool. And I want to see more of it because obviously we've only seen a kind of small, indecipherable slice of it so far.
Yep.
I think what
proper gameplay.
I don't know if it could be good, the fact that it reminds me of graphic novels. It reminds me of a lot of stuff I've read in the past sort of 12 to 24 months. And maybe that's why I get the derivative, feeling from it. But I also really liked all that shit. And it reminds me of something like Thor Ragnarok, which, it was kind of drawing on that kind of 70s, 60s, even 60s, 70s sort of French sci-fi graphic novel style.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm warming on it every day.
The fact that it is literally derived from that stuff too, that it is a licensed thing from one of those that were there at the inception of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because they did such a good job with adapting what The Witcher was to their own take on it that I have no reason to believe they won't do that with this, and I'm super fucking stoked for it.
Yeah, cool.
It's not going to come out for 5 years.
Yeah. Next up.
Next was Jump Force, which was that sort of anime Smash Brothers.
Yep.
Do you remember it had like Goku and the One Piece guy?
Yep. Monkey.
Yeah, that's it. A logo for a Battletoads game, and everyone's like, yeah! But
hell yeah,
why?
baby.
I'm out on Battletoads now.
Really?
That reaction made
Same.
me not like it.
Dude, I regret fucking that Battletoad, honestly. I don't know, man. Like, it seems... I don't know. It seemed like everything we were just saying then of that bad type of nostalgia piece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also, though, it's hard to comment anyway, really, when all they've done is show a logo,
Totally. It's literally nothing yet.
Yeah.
And then they talked about a couple more things, more Xbox Game Pass stuff, all that sort of stuff. And Nier Automata's coming to the Xbox One, which is fucking awesome because that's a great game.
Oh, actually, contradicting my question from before about Kingdom Hearts 3, so that being on Xbox is a big deal, right? Because haven't they just been on Sony stuff?
Yeah, they
right.
never have
Yeah.
been before,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah. Yes. Anyway,
But
next
it's not
up.
a big deal because those games suck.
Next up, we had Bethesda.
Big Beth Boys.
So this is the only conference that I.
Boys and girls.
I actually no, it's not. This is
Men and
this is the first one of them that I watched in its entirety as it was happening. What?
Right.
Just
I think
myself.
we both watched this live, Tommy, and talked to each other. Perhaps I might have been at work. With
Yeah.
This in my ear. Yeah.
Yeah, and I came and watched it later. I watched a bunch of these, like, deliberately went radio silent on social media and came and watched them later
Yeah,
because I
cool.
wanted to not be spoiled. But I remember for this one, I looked at the chat very briefly, and it was a message from Ben in all caps saying, Doom sequel.
Sorry.
So that bit I knew about. Oh, no, look, it's dumb for me not to want spoilers for marketing announcements.
Yeah, and to go in
That's
our group
lame.
and to go into our group chat that is about video games, thinking that there's a chance that you might not get spoilers.
Look, it's my own fault, and I'll accept that. But yeah, this was a weird one because they kind of, like, in terms of the press conferences, this was, it was strange. Like you had Todd Holland? What's
Howard.
his name?
Howard.
Todd Howard did like 5 minutes of stand-up.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? He was killing.
He didn't do that bad, yeah.
People love that guy.
He came out and was like, dude, E3's different now. Old E3 drives like this.
Yeah.
New E3. But they came out and sort
Doing
of made
crowd work.
they made jokes about
What are you, a fucking gamer or something, you fat piece of shit? Just roasting people in the front row.
they had genuinely every presenter that came out for this, someone in the crowd went woo
Yeah,
at some
yeah.
point, and they got distracted by it.
So, okay, so start of the show, lights go down. Who comes out but Andrew WK?
Andrew Wook, he runs out the stage and
Yeah.
he's like, bitch, I still like partying. It's been fucking years, but I like to party still.
It was very strange. I think I said this to you yesterday, Ben. Like, if you were in the room, like, you know, I probably would have felt cool. Like, oh, cool, there's a bit of a concert, like loud live music.
Because they showed reactions of the audience, and none of them I thought were wearing faces that said to me, I think this is cool.
I just mean in terms of how it would have sounded.
Yeah.
Sorry.
None of them wore faces of anyone who'd ever seen live music before.
yeah. But I mean, being in the room when there's music played live would probably sound, you know, like very big and very cool. But then watching it on the stream, like the mix of it, kind of sounded a bit shitty.
Terrible.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
awful.
Like, he's
Streaming
not
video
doing
is the
good up
worst
there.
way to watch music.
Yeah.
Well, and all of the Andrew WK aspect of it is the thing that makes me less and less interested in Rage 2.
Yes. I see what you're talking about after watching this.
It's just the forced attitude of it is grating to me.
Sure.
But it still looks like it will probably be a fun game.
I was like looking at some of the chatter going on around this time, and a lot of people were saying like Doom Mad Max. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how it feels to me. Like it has that sort of over the top attitude of Doom, which I think we all liked, but it has the gameplay and the aesthetic of Mad Max, which I fucking loved. And if it has the car combat from the Mad Max game that Avalanche made, it's going to be incredibly fun. Like that is the best
think
car
it'll be
combat
fun.
I've ever played.
I think there's some filter on it, though, that is also Doom Mad Max reblogged by Tumblr that I'm not super into. There's just some element of it that is grating to me. But yeah, I think that will be a fun game. Elder Scrolls Legends, which was their card game, which is fucking bullshit boring. Another Elder Scrolls Online expansion, which I've not played that, but good for you if you do.
Sure, I think
And
it's
then-
good from what I hear. Like it's genuinely a
It
good
sounds
game.
like it's good. There's
Yeah.
just, I can never even think about playing an MMO ever again. I have to not.
Doom Eternal. Fuck yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I wish they'd have called it just Doom 2 Hell
Me
on Earth
too.
again.
Yeah, me too.
But they didn't.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fuck up my Wikipedia pages.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
Halo
right.
Infinite, Doom Eternal. Actually, one thing is I'm not concerned about, but speculating. Halo Infinite and Doom Eternal both could be like games as a service games where they're just
They
kind of like
both
there's some
have-
sort of ongoing multiplayer online thing.
Yeah. Definitely
No.
both names suggest that, don't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, who knows? Because we don't know anything about Doom yet. There was just sort of a CGI trailer of like, hey, this ruined building, we're on Earth. But a sequel to Doom would be fucking rad.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
But
Exciting
yeah,
stuff.
I think that's a long way off. Like, it does feel, this E3 especially, like we're getting towards the end of a console generation.
Yes, agree.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of sequels and almost wheel spinny feeling sequels. As people, as studios seem to be ramping up to something new.
Yeah.
Oh, you
no,
know
that's
what?
a good point.
We didn't mention this. Microsoft, I'm pretty sure in their conference said, "Oh, we're working on the next Xbox or the next console."
They have. There's been more about that today, actually, I think, that they've said it will be a family of products or something. So it does sound like they're going to go, and it would make sense to lean even more into the kind of play anywhere Windows aspect of it, of like, you
Yep.
can get the Xbox Portable or the like just a bunch of branded laptops or something almost.
Totally,
And
totally,
branded
yeah.
PCs, which is probably a fucking good move for them, honestly.
Yeah.
And if they have a great sort of Netflix equivalent that, like
Yeah.
Netflix, you can pick up on any device, like, yeah, that could be the way to go.
And they have the best one at the moment. And there were a couple of things where people went, and this game is available on Xbox. What's it called?
Game Pass?
Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Right now. And like Black Ops 3 was on the PS4 one. And there was some of that was like that, and it's out right now.
Yep. Quake Champions.
Quake Champions, more of that. Have never played that still. And yeah, it's the sort of Overwatch cross Quake also ran.
Yep.
DLC for Prey, which didn't sound like what I wanted out of it. It was like, I think they said it was procedurally generated.
Yeah.
You can play it a bunch of times.
Yep.
Oh.
Use the mechanics of Prey, which were good, but at the same time, I don't know. That
You've moved
style
on.
of game, well, that sort of Bioshock System Shock style of game, you're there for kind of that story experience in it at the same time.
Yep.
Which, yeah, I don't know. Not what I would have done if I was in charge of everything, which I will be soon. Some Wolfenstein DLC, Young Blood, about BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters in the 80s and the Nazis are still in control.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I just watched that now again. Like, good aesthetic. I still haven't played the new Colossus, but always happy for more of these.
Everything about it was good except for the gameplay. It honestly, the level design was fucking shit and kind of wrecked it.
Oh, no.
And, but everything else about it, like, I really liked what they did with the story and everything with it. It just, yeah.
Yeah.
I
didn't
might
play
watch a Let's Play of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, not bad.
And maybe they fixed that with this one, hopefully.
Yeah.
So then Fallout 76 they went into here. They
Yes.
kind of explained what it actually was, which it was sort of nebulous up until then. We knew about it, knew that it was not, or there were rumors that it wasn't going to be like a Fallout New Vegas semi-sequel type thing, that it was going to be something different. And the rumors were that it was going to be one of these kind of online survival type games. And as is always the case with rumors, you cannot believe that they won't be true.
It's
turns out
like
that's
Rust.
exactly what it is.
It's Rust or H1Z1 or one of those games.
Spawn into a world, other people are there. You theoretically can join up with them to cooperate, but if you ever see one, they're going to shoot you.
So to me, this looked like this was as if someone had deliberately tried to design something to appeal to me personally as little as possible. And let me tell you, they succeeded. Everything about this, from the look, I don't know, I like, with the exception of Doom, I just have nothing for Bethesda. I thought their presentation was like a good presentation overall.
Sure.
I thought it was paced pretty well. I thought they were doing a lot of cool stuff, and I can definitely appreciate that if you are into their stuff. A lot of the stuff they were showing, to a certain, to their audience who's into that stuff is like, oh, cool. They seem to be hitting a lot of the right notes here.
Yeah.
I think, but just overall as a company, I don't know, like all their stuff just kind of has the exact same feel. And I mean, I guess that's true of a lot of companies, but it's just a look that and a feel that doesn't really appeal to me in any way.
I can appreciate that. I mean, like, I like the Fallout world, and I liked seeing all these weird mutant monsters that you can shoot. That element of it was fine, and this is the one of those types of games that has come the closest to making me want to give it a chance.
Right.
But I don't know if it's what I'm after.
I know it's I don't know.
I love Bethesda. I love their style. I love Fallout. I've loved 3 New Vegas and 4 more than most people. Played all the DLC. I don't think I'm going to play this game.
Right.
Because it's not that style of game, is it? They're trying to do something new that they've not done before, and I would argue they've never proven that they're equipped to do.
Yeah, agreed.
The actual...
even if it was well executed, it's not the kind of game that I want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, same with Sea of Thieves. I think you can go into one of these sort of, it's all multiplayer, you kind of make up your own stories, you can go into them with the best of intentions, but then you throw a bunch of people in there, and, oh, cool, people are saying the N-word in Fallout now. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just make a fucking game. Like this
Yeah.
thing of like, hey, we're just going to build this world, and then just, I don't know, fucking it's up to you.
But
like
again-
when he goes, in the thing when he was saying, we always start with the world, which I just find as a thing of creativity, and as we all know from like writing and stuff, what makes good art is like you start with the characters. You got to start with the character, like him going like, we just think of a setting that sounds cool, and then I don't know, the rest just fucking takes care of itself.
You can see that in the Bethesda games, and it does work because the little weird things that you stumble across, especially in the Fallout games, are the cool things about them.
Right.
It's the little strange stories that you find and the freaks that you come across.
And Skyrim
And
as well.
And Skyrim as well, to a lesser extent for me, because it's just not quite as weird as the Fallout world is.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, definitely Skyrim. And Morrowind and Oblivion have that same sort of thing of stumbling into just following a tunnel and going like, oh wait, who lives down here? And then getting attacked by some guy and reading a note that his, daughter fucked off because he, like there's all these little feel like naturalistic or emergent stories, but are written into the worlds.
Totally, and turning them into actually emergent stories with other players, I just don't feel will be effective. But maybe someone will pull it off one day.
Yeah.
But with this particular type of thing, I don't think anyone has yet, and I don't know if these are the people to do it because the mechanics of their games aren't their strong point.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, making a Fallout online shooter will only expose how shitty the shooting is in Fallout.
Completely. So then they had a bit of a joke with us.
Yeah, it was a sketch about Skyrim, which I don't think we need to touch on because it's not a real video game. It's more of a comedy piece, which quite clearly the three of us have absolutely no interest in.
And if you had just watched this and none of his other work, you'd think that neither did Keegan-Michael Key.
I thought this was fun. I thought, props to them for, I don't know, throwing a little thing in there.
They had some awareness of how often they fucking release Skyrim.
Yeah, which then, but then almost immediately they're going on to sort of do, I don't know. So, all right, so the next thing
they're
is...
like, don't we bring out the same games a lot? Here's Fallout Shelter on the Switch.
Yeah, yes. And then followed up with The Elder Scrolls Blades. Now, this
looked like fucking dog shit.
This motherfucker going on and on and on about this fucking phone game. He's like, you slide your finger across the screen and it swings the sword. Cunt, that's Fruit Ninja. Don't get up there and hold court with this mechanic that is in every mobile game that's ever been made.
Guess what, guys? We've got the hottest game of 2009. It's The Elder Scrolls Blades. That just looked poor to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny when he was like, you play it in portrait mode so that you can sit in a meeting and be on your phone and not be obvious that you're playing a game. But I don't know.
If your pitch for your game is it's slightly more interesting than accounting, then you got a shit game, which I believe they do in The Elder Scrolls Blades. But then they ended with what I think people are giving too much credit for being a strong move by saying, and we're working on Starfield, which is Skyrim in space, and we're working on The Elder Scrolls 6, which is Skyrim in another continent or whatever. But they said of each of these games, they're in production and they'll come out some fucking time in the future. And they used the phrase next gen about both.
Really?
They did. He specifically said next gen.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. Right.
So I thought that was a really weird way to end because people were like, fuck yeah, Elder Scrolls logo. I didn't think they'd make another one of their most successful games.
I mean, it was getting ridiculous that Skyrim was being milked so dry, but the fact that these are now going to be probably on new consoles in at least 2 to 3 years.
Exactly.
Probably?
Saying we milked that cow dry and you'll get a new cow in 5 years.
Yeah.
Is crazy because it's Starfield first, and then it'll be it sounds. The scuttlebutt is that Starfield's sort of, some way along, but probably another couple years away. So probably launch-ish, PS5-ish type generation thing. Yep. And Elder Scrolls 6 is pre-production.
Right.
So that'll be, I don't know. If you take the previous generation, the 360 stuff, Oblivion came out sort of 6 months after launch, and Skyrim was 5 years after launch. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a similar pattern for these two.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I don't know, just that isn't exciting to me.
Yeah.
So, Bethesda, in terms of the actual games, Rage 2 will probably be fun. A sequel to Doom, fuck yeah. Then it's a bunch of DLC and stuff I'm not interested in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're into that Fallout thing, that is huge. That's big.
And maybe it'll be great. I'm happy to be wrong about that, and I would like to be wrong. It's just, we're talking with experience of similar stuff.
Yep. Okay, so moving on.
There was some stuff just sort of announced separately, a remake of this obscure game, Metal Wolf Chaos, where you play as the president of America in a mech.
Yep.
Stuff like
this
that.
This is Devolver Digital. My friend Pedro, which looks sick.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, man. It's a little platformy game that's, super violent. You're doing lots of crazy slowing down time and just, shooting two people at once, crazy double guns kind of stuff. Looks like a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just for that game.
I'm watching it now. It looks like a John Woo movie or something.
Yeah. I think it's just on the Switch, maybe. But yeah,
Yeah, Devolver Digital was in the middle here, which I'm still not really sure who they are.
yeah,
Yeah, same.
yeah. They do those weird like trolling conferences where they
Yeah.
Like I saw a thing they
The
issued
woman
in
with
a
her nose
they
bleeding the whole time. The woman with her nose bleeding the
Yes.
whole time presenting
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
they issued a pre-apology for their conference this year. Like they do kind of weird shit like that.
Okay.
Which can't.
Good for them.
My
Square
friend
Enix was-
Pedro, is on Switch and PC. Weirdly, they're the only two platforms.
Yeah, right.
So then Square Enix was the next big conference.
Yeah, baby.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider they led with, which we've already talked about. I will say Lara Croft looking fucking muscly.
Oh,
in
yeah.
This one, which good for her. She's becoming the Tomb Raider finally.
She's got
every
damn-
one of these
too.
every one of these three games, and I said Threem Ray. I didn't say three games. I said Threem Ray. Every one of these
Is
three
that Thai?
games. I'm assimilating, man. They've said this is the story of how she becomes the Tomb Raider, and now they're actually seeming to do it. A Final Fantasy XIV expansion again, and again another MMO, and I cannot even think of it. Dragon Quest XI, which
Sure.
don't have a huge amount of experience with the Dragon Quest games, but it looks like a JRPG. Good for them. Babylon's Fall, which I think was just they didn't really make clear what it was. It was that one with. Did you see the trailer with the weird sort of fake history of this fantasy world, and that went for ages, and they didn't show any gameplay of it, and then at the end it said, "Oh, and it's Platinum making it." So we were like,
Yes.
"Oh, okay,
Right.
Yeah. Weird
So,
little
no
CGI
idea.
bit, no gameplay.
yeah." But it's just okay. Platinum are making another game, which cool. Platinum are fucking awesome most of the time. Mm-hmm. Octopath Traveler again, which is out soon and still has a great graphical style, but I'm not sure if I'm interested.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I got the demo. It didn't really grab me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just Cause 4, again, more of that. That looks cool still. And then, for my money, the absolute worst trailer of the entirety of E3 came next for a fucking dog shit looking game called The Quiet Man.
Yep.
Did either of you see this?
I did not, no.
Okay, I have to start playing this right now because it is a sort of FMV style game. Mm-hmm. And
Is it FMV though? It looks like
well, so
It's hard to
it's
tell.
it's sort of it reminds me of what was that one that the people that made Max Payne did? Quantum Break,
Oh yeah.
where it goes from film footage to gameplay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It just has some of the worst acting, and this main dude absolutely does not fit for anyone who you're ever going to take seriously. And look, I apologize to you if you're listening. You're an actor, go get yours. But you were miscast.
We've got it on right now as we're talking. This looks very bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
this looks like the cancelled after 3 episodes Sci-Fi Channel original.
Yes.
yeah.
This sucks, dude. What are you doing this game?
And so then it turns from the FMV to the games, and you beat
Oh
people up.
no.
It's
Oh no.
Oh no.
and its tagline is "Silence rings loudest," which strikes me as someone who is deep and doesn't have an understanding of the English language. And then he places his lunch on the.
Everyone should go watch that. That was great.
It looks like shit, and I hate the guy's haircut.
Yeah.
And I just don't care. More Kingdom Hearts 3, and then some Final Fantasy 14 stuff is going to be DLC for Monster Hunter.
Yep.
Square Enix's press conference was not into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird that I would have liked to see a bit of Dragon Quest Builders 2. That's like coming out soonish, I think.
Yeah.
Thought that would have been in the mix, but yes. Hey, boys, I am going to have to go in 20-ish minutes, so
All right, let's race
let's
through.
get clipping. Let's cast some of the less important things.
Okay, well, I've done that by
the way.
closing Google Chrome.
So what's the next one we got?
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, right.
So they came up with their normal bullshit of like people dancing around and went, hey, we've got Just Dance again.
Yep.
Sort of didn't have heaps to say here either.
Which they're bringing out on the Wii.
Yeah. There's a Wii version of that still, which is fucking awesome.
It's this. It's something like the highest selling thing of all time. Like that
Yeah,
franchise
so that makes
across
sense.
even Wii still is just ridiculous.
I think kind of all of this stuff was known about. It's like Beyond Good and Evil 2 we saw more of, and that game's looking still like CGI trailers.
Yep.
Rainbow Six Siege, they were like, hey, esports. And everyone was like, okay. Trials Rising, another Trials game. You know what those are. The Division 2, again, like the Division. The Mario and Rabbids DLC looks fucking awesome.
God, it looks
Yes.
good. It's out on June 26th too.
Yeah, so
so
we'll be
pretty
talking
soon.
about that
Yeah, looks
soon.
real fun. Looks
Skull
like
and
they've nailed it.
Bones, their pirate combat game.
Yeah, I'm still into it. Still very much into it.
I was more into it after this trailer. It did look cool. Transference, Elijah Wood's dumb project.
Yeah, fuck.
Starlink, which is No Man's Skylanders. For Honor DLC, where they're bringing in like sort of Romance of the Three Kingdoms era Chinese history stuff, which is cool. The Crew 2, racing. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which had been leaked previous to E3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And is exactly what you'd imagine it is. It
Yeah.
looks like an Assassin's Creed fucking game.
The assassin has a
Greece.
talking hat that allows you that you can throw and you capture.
It looks good.
Very, very droll.
Sure,
I'm really into it. It's apparently got more RPG elements to it than any previous Assassin's Creed game. The setting
wow.
looks great. The engine's beautiful. I am excited for it.
certainly. What was that? Origins gave me
Yeah.
more faith in Assassin's Creed again than
Yeah, they're back, baby.
they'd earned for a while from me. A bunch of shit at this PC gaming show, which a lot of it looked really cool. Just a lot of smaller games
Yeah.
that were kind of indie things, but some of them looked really fucking awesome.
Can we talk very quickly about Sable?
Sable!
Looks fucking really,
Yes.
really gorgeous. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize this until I was looking at a music blog that I follow. There's a band called Japanese Breakfast that I really enjoy. They have one album out that's great, if people want to check that out. But she's done the soundtrack for this. Like, her next album is just, she's done all the music for this game.
Awesome.
Which is already super into the visual style, and then, yeah, kind of by accident through reading a music blog was like, oh, great, and it's going to have this awesome soundtrack too. That's cool.
Is this?
That's sick.
No, it isn't. This isn't the one where they were bragging that they were going to emulate every pixel or like apply physics to every pixel. One of them was that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few things here that looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
2 Point Hospital, which is a sort of spiritual sequel to Theme Hospital.
Yeah.
With a bit of sense of humor to it. Looked good to me. Bunch of stuff. Final season of Telltale's Walking Dead. Hitman 2 again. So then we got into the second last press
Yep.
conference.
Sony,
Oh, yeah.
baby.
The big dogs down at Sony probably have taken home the like most interesting press conference of the last 2 or 3 E3s.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
And this one, I don't think they hit as heavy as they have been. Purely, I think, mainly because the volume of games that they've had wasn't there.
Yes.
They did
Yeah.
come out before it and say, like, we're going deep dives into these four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Don't expect much more. And there were a couple of little surprises, but
Yeah.
why don't we just get into...
So we got a proper look at The Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking great.
Looks
Just
fucking
the weirdest press conference,
amazing.
though, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, the way they went into actually showing that trailer was they built a room that looked like the room from the cutscene that they're about to show.
Yes.
And had the composer from the game play the banjo for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And... like, just the strange... And it sucked until it went into that cutscene and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this game looks fucking awesome. The fact that it's called The Last of Us Part 2 is so appropriate because it's literally the second half of that game, it seems like.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In
Yes.
terms of gameplay and the tone of the story and what they're doing with it. Like, but, you know...
Building
I fucking-
on characters that are already very rich and very deep.
Totally. Still unclear what Joel will be in this game because someone kind of goes like, hey, your old man always gets angry when you go out, but they don't show Joel again and it seemed like he was dead in that first one almost.
Right,
Hallucination.
Agreed. Yeah.
The
yeah.
first video game kiss I've seen that didn't look fucking weird.
Yep.
Like,
What did
yep,
you say in our
agreed.
group? You said something like 2 polygons. The first one that didn't look like 2 polygons just bumping against each
just,
other.
yeah. And
Yeah.
They always look awkward. But this one was like, just because they've got such good fucking, they're so good at being able to render an actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I saw speculation that it's going to be a big part of the game, that this kiss will be like it's so focused on because Ellie is infected and immune.
Right.
So what if she infects this other woman she's been kissing and that's her rampage?
Ah, okay.
Based on-
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
But yeah, just the best fucking animation coming out of Naughty Dog still.
Yep.
It like the sort of impact that every shot that she took
Yep.
had
Yeah.
was cool.
Great.
I think fair to say of the tentpole games that they showed, it only it served basically to reinforce all of our most positive hopes for this game. Like, it didn't blow us away with anything surprising. It just was like, oh, it's going to be the thing that you basically dreamed it would be, which is a better, more visually stunning version of Last of Us Part 1.
Totally. Absolutely the most known quantity here, but good.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 Forsaken.
DLC, who gives a fuck? Fuck
Yep.
Destiny 2.
Yeah. Okay. Ghost of Tsushima, this is far and away the thing I liked the most out of E3.
Right.
I think this
cool.
looks stunning.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Visually, I think this is the thing that if anything's going to tip me into getting a 4K TV, just the depth of like the kind of very dark clouds with then the light hitting the ground and that, you know, that gap between the darks being super dark and the light being super light in
The
the same
maple
shot.
leaves. The fucking
The maple leaves.
Oh.
Yeah, it just looks it looks incredible.
Yeah.
These guys were the first ones to come out and go like, hey, look at this PS4 game, Infamous Second Son. We have made the first next generation looking game.
Right.
Too.
I think it's one of the best looking things I've ever seen
The
in the trailer.
one thing about it that made me a little less interested than I was in the concept before having seen it was it looks like it's kind of the Batman style combat. Mm-hmm. And when he first kind of just cut that dude down, I just thought it would be cool to have actual samurai combat of like, if you get hit by a sword, you're fucking dead.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't seem to be that.
Right.
But whatever, that's cool. Control, something by, again, the Remedy, who did Quantum Break looks okay. Not a huge amount to say about that.
Cool visual style.
Yeah. Resident Evil 2 remake. They had one little shot of it that looked like it was in the style of Resident Evil 4, the gameplay. So, cool.
Yep.
Trover Saves the Universe, which is Justin fucking Roiland, who I'm getting sick of because this whole thing is just going like, hey, I'm a character and I'm saying my thing instead of writing a joke about it.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts 3, a fucking gang. Death Stranding, first gameplay footage of this made me so much less interested in it.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
same.
I think
same.
I'm still
on
in.
the same page. No,
Leah
I was
Sedu's
like,
in it now.
this might be too ambitious for a game and I might find it boring.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it is. It was just kind of walking, and it looks like it's still not super far along in development, honestly.
Yep.
From that. But yeah, I don't know, actually seeing it moving and the same sort of crouch from Metal Gear and it just looking...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it does
no.
just look like Metal Gear with a different skin.
Yeah. So, who knows? But,
Neo 2.
Yep. Cool. Sequel to Neo.
Yep.
Dark Souls style game. Spider-Man still looks good.
Yeah, okay. So
yeah.
I watched this and I've been vocally skeptical on this podcast. I'm all in now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
based
nice.
on what we saw in this, I was like, yep, fuck me up. This looks very good.
Having all those Spider-Man villains swooping in and being like, hey, we're the Suicide
Yes.
Squad or whatever.
Yep.
So that's out September this year and I'm pumped. That's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, that's going to be a fun-ass time.
So yeah,
yes.
Sony, not a lot of quantity to them, but certainly the quality of those four does look to be there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, weird presentation, but like like I said, that Ghost game, it's like, what was my favorite thing, and the thing with getting to see Last of Us and it confirming all the best things that we were thinking, and Spider-Man being out real soon and looking like it's fucking real fun. It's a still good home run, you know.
It's funny that they're four similarly action-y type single-player games.
You are right, yeah, yeah.
Which,
I mean,
which
even
is
from
exactly my shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
completely.
yeah.
It's just it's funny from the state of the way that games are these days, with Fortnite being the biggest thing in the world and all of that this is what they're doubling down on.
Yeah.
Good for them. So, speaking of doubling, we're going to double the speed towards the end of the episode here. Nintendo, the last ones to put their foot forward.
Yep. So I watched this last night here in Thailand at 11 p.m. Pretty fucking drunk in my hotel room. And yes, I watched it with someone who's here who is a listener of this show, Luke, who kept turning to me and going, God damn, I feel lucky to have witnessed you watching this. Because I I was in the mix. I was up there on my feet, whooping and cheering at the screen like I was watching a goddamn grand final.
So in the sober light of day, how do you feel about it now?
Oh, like it. I mean, for the first half, the second half, it it was like we were winning at halftime, and then we
sure.
were anyway.
And
So
then
let's crack through it. So
Smash Brothers Pele from the other team came along and spent 25 minutes scoring goals. So Damon Cross Machina, some kind of mech game, looked really cool. I was into the visual style of it a lot.
yeah, and them opening with that is not something that you would pick of them. I think it looks fun.
I've almost certainly mispronounced that too. Some Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, or is this a sequel?
No, it's
in some way?
DLC.
It's DLC. Okay.
Yeah,
It's Dilks.
looks cool.
Super Mario Party.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
Oh, right.
I'm an old fan of Mario Party. It's in the category of a lot of their franchises that they've kind of treated with very basically disdain for the last few years of their consoles, just kind of churning them out. And it's sort of like what we're seeing with the Switch says sort of putting a bit more care back into these franchises and kind of stripping them back. I mean, the fact that it's not a numbered entry, like the fact that it's just called Super Mario Party. Man, I think it looks great. Like,
I would be massively into the first good Mario Party game existing.
and the Switch is the perfect thing for it as well. The cool stuff in the trailer where you can have two Switches and you can like link up the screens together and like move the screens around to do kind of crossplay stuff is an awesome idea.
It is one of the rooftop party games that they have pitched with the initial thing. A few ports, Fortnite, Hollow Knight, and Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yep. So Fortnite out now. That dropped immediately afterwards. Overcooked 2 is coming out.
Crossplay, by the way, with Fortnite and like the PC versions of it and stuff.
Yeah.
Not PS4, yeah.
Yeah.
Overcooked 2.
Sick. That first
coming
game's
out.
great.
Yep. Fire Emblem Three Houses, the Fire Emblem Switch game that people have kind of been clamoring to know about. I think looks really good.
So I didn't see the trailer for this one. This is the bit where I didn't get up to.
Right. Did you watch it, Ben?
Yes, it's just like a classic turn-based fucking tactical strategy game.
Yeah. But I liked kind of the style where it was sort of zooming in and looking very kind of polished and.
Dude, I love a crash zoom. I don't want this to be too surprising, but zoom. I love a crash zoom.
So
couple
then,
of other ones, Octopath Traveler again and SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, which we've seen both of them before, and Killer Queen Black, some kind of side scroller.
Yep.
But the big part, the main focus of this direct.
Yeah, which we knew was happening was Smash Brothers, so it's called Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and the big thing about it is that it's every character that's ever been in Smash in this one game, so a lot of characters that haven't been in it since the GameCube version or whatever. And yeah, so this it looks great. It looks like Smash Brothers. Awesome to get the confirmation of what it actually is.
Yep.
They then go on to spend 25 minutes of it, including going through literally every single one of the characters that's on the roster and just giving a little tidbit about them.
Do you reckon there was someone, like, while they were filming it, standing behind the camera, like, doing the little cut off your head motion, going like, no, no, but they put it in.
No, doing the like wrap it up.
Stretch it.
Yeah.
Maybe they just had to stretch it because they didn't have many fucking games to announce here.
Yeah.
But it is cool that every character's in it, and there's a couple of new ones like the Inklings and
Ridley from Metroid. And then, I mean, of course, there'll be more. I mean,
is it every stage as well?
I believe so.
You see, that's cool.
Yeah.
It should be everything.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be great. I think it's a smart move. Like I can see now why they've been cagey about whether or not it was a Switch port, and I think that's the way to have it.
Kind of both, right? Like it's new and old at the same time.
It's everything, and I mean they still get people clamoring for the people that are obsessed with Melee, just wanting Melee again.
Yeah.
I mean, when it started up, I was like really into this and thinking like, cool, this will end, and then we'll get a little bombshell, like we'll find, that Star Fox racing game is confirmed or whatever. And they got to the end and that was it. And I was just, a bit bummed. Even though, again, I think everything that I saw in it, I was into. I just wish there'd been, one or two more things in the mix.
To play devil's advocate to my own opinion, which is that, there wasn't nearly enough. People have mentioned online that there's going to be a bunch of directs, like Nintendo do more of these things than any other developer. So there's
totally,
like
and I mean
5 more this year.
Nintendo give the least of a shit about E3 out of any of the big ones.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what I find so weird about it is that Smash Brothers is out in December.
Yeah.
So there's going to be at least, you'd think, 2 more directs between now and then anyway. So why do the fucking full character roster run down in your E3 conference?
And again, it being
bizarre.
out in December, but they're paid online launching in September.
Yes.
So I won't buy that for 3 months then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, good point. Yeah.
There are a couple of things we've missed, like the Yakuza games coming to PC, stuff like that. There's obviously going to be things that are happening during the week that we've kind of missed out on as well. But yeah, weird recording situation
Yes.
this week with us being
Yes.
in Thailand and time limited. And also, I think I had heat stroke for a while there. I think I had actual sun damage to my brain.
It's really been a podcast of 2 halves because it's like,
I've become okay again.
you've become
Yeah.
a different person.
Like
If I'd closed my eyes for 10 seconds in the middle, I would have been convinced that like a lookalike had snuck in here and taken over from you.
dude, ain't no one look like this bitch. But I need to go and see a doctor and make sure that I'm okay. But just sort of across the board, not a surprising E3.
That's I mean,
Totally. Yeah.
so yeah, let's just kind of sum up what we all thought. I mean, look, there is a lot of cool stuff coming out in the near to sort of more distant future. There was a lot of stuff that kind of I wasn't aware of before that I've found myself now extremely hyped for. But yeah, I mean, always the best E3. The E3s are the ones where there's, some big surprises and some big, like, where the fuck did this come from moments, and it pretty light on them, even though still a lot of cool stuff shown off and still pretty high level of quality.
And it is probably because we're likely 1 year away from it being the E3 where they go, and here is the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Agreed. I mean, I think I'm on the same page. I was impressed by the depth or the more in-depth looks at games I already wanted to buy, but
Yeah.
I was not surprised by anything. I don't know, for the record, I think Sony it was my favorite just because of the games, but I was really impressed by Microsoft as well and really respect what they're trying to do.
I really think that Phil Spencer, especially, who is that president guy of it now, is massively riding this ship. Not quickly, but definitely riding it to the point where I don't think they will be in as precarious a position as you might have said a few years ago.
Yes.
Coming into the next time people are making decisions about what to buy.
Absolutely, completely agreed.
consoles-wise.
Well, and like we said, it's when we were speculating about what would happen with Microsoft, and we've all sort of said we want them to have a good one because
Yeah.
it's more interesting to talk about video games and it makes the industry more interesting when everyone is at the top of their game and doing really well. And I kind of think like that is kind of what's happened here.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
they,
Certainly
Agreed.
don't have the same sort of like unique games that Sony does, and
No.
that's been Sony's to their benefit throughout this whole generation has been these oddball kind of massive single player, especially games like
Yeah.
Persona, Bloodborne, and like Ghost of Tsushima,
Yep.
Last of Us, all of those sort of things. Sony has massively killed it. God of War this year
Yep,
on
yep.
Yeah.
these big
Horizon.
unique single player games. Horizon.
Yep.
And Microsoft just doesn't have them. Like I could have told you 10 years ago that I wanted to play Halo 6
Yep.
or Gears of War 5. So it's, they just don't have that.
Well, yeah, it's a good time to be a gamer.
Hey, I think it's a bad time.
Well, speaking of time, I have to go.
All right, yeah. So, hey, it's been a long podcast anyway. E3's massive. I'm sure we'll be talking about the ramifications of it for weeks to come.
Yes. Lots of exciting stuff coming up, guys. Go to our website, get a ticket to our live show in Melbourne on July the 14th. Yes?
Yep.
Yes. That's going to be heaps
We'll
of fun.
get it earlier, but it's on July the 14th.
We've got our Patreon. We've got all sorts of stuff. filthycasuals.com.au. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. And as we say at the end here of every episode of Filthy Casuals,
I'm pretty sure I've damaged myself in the sun.